2 million divided by 7 equals, all right, so 285,714 people per palm tree. Hey guys, welcome to Joel Reads Bible. I'm Joel and I read Bible so that you don't have to. And here we are in Exodus. We're still reading Exodus. That's right. It's actually gone by pretty quickly, except for chapter 12. That was a long one. But we're here at chapter 15. I will say, as some of you know, I did have some technical difficulties. So this is the second time reading chapter 15 for me, but it's going to be the first time hearing it for you. And I'm going to try to keep it fresh. I actually cannot remember what I read the last time because it was a little while ago. The Hebrews have just left Egypt and they have defeated the Egyptians by watching them drown. God did most of the work there. And now they are on the other side of the Red Sea and they are, I guess, heading into the next part of the journey. Hopefully it's not going to be long and boring and a lot of desert stuff. Hopefully it's going to be a lot of, genocide or something like that. So let's get into it. By the way, if you haven't subscribed, please do that now and click the like button and leave me a comment because guess what? I need it. Why do you think I do this? For my own deconstruction? No, I need the engagement. So here we go, Exodus chapter 15. Then Moses and the Israelites sang this song to the Lord. I will sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted. The horse and its rider he has hurled into the sea. The Lord is my strength and my song. He has become my salvation. He is my God and I will praise him. My Father's God, I will exalt him. The Lord is a warrior. The Lord is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his army he has hurled into the sea. The best of Pharaoh's officers are drowned in the Red Sea. You don't rhyme C with C. Don't rhyme the same word with the same word. That's going to be my one. This is pretty good so far, but that would be my one critique here. The waters have covered them. They sank into the depths like a stone. Your right hand, O Lord, was majestic in power. Your right hand, O Lord, shattered the enemy. In the greatest of your majesty, you threw down those who oppressed you. You unleashed your burning anger. It consumed them like stubble. By the blast of your nostrils, the waters piled up. The surging water stood firm like a wall. The deep waters congealed in the heart of the sea. Before I go on, by the blast of your nostrils, come on, guys, you were doing so well. That's a construction worker move. By the blast of your nostrils. By the way, we are made in God's image. He has a nose, it turns out. By the blast of your nostrils, the waters piled up. They piled up, guys. I know you're not scientists. I know you don't know how anything works, but they piled up. The waters stood firm like a wall. They congealed. What is it? What's congealed? Like oil, like a grease congealed in a pan. You kind of took some lyrics that were, I felt, working to a degree, and you flubbed them. I believe there's a bit of a flub going on here. The enemy boasted, I will pursue, I will overtake them. I will divide the spoils, I will gorge myself on them. I will draw my sword and my hand will destroy them. That's 3 rhymes of them, but okay. but you blew with your breath, or nostrils, and the sea covered them. Fourth, them. So they sank like lead in the mighty waters. The mighty waters. Who among the gods is like you, O Lord? There are many real gods, but this God is just the best one, especially with nostril work. He's really good at the nostril stuff. Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in glory, working wonders? You stretched out your right hand, and the earth swallowed them. In your unfailing love, you will lead the people you have redeemed. In your strength, you will guide them to your holy dwelling. The nations will hear and tremble. Anguish will grip the people of Philistia. I like that line. Anguish will grip the people of Philistia, the people of Philistia, the people of Philistia. The chiefs of Edom will be terrified. The leaders of Moab will be seized with trembling. They'll be seized with trembling. The people of Canaan will melt away, and we hate the Canaanites anyway. They're our least favorite because of the early nude scene in Genesis. Now I'm making stuff up. That stuff, read along because that stuff is not in there, but it is accurate. Terror and dread will fall upon them. God, you're going to make terror and dread fall upon them. Somebody better take this vocal track and, add a beat to it. Can you guys make an instrumental out of this? Because I think it's actually really powerful, and I want some copyright because I think this is a great new praise song. Terror and dread, terror and dread. God, you're gonna bring terror and dread. By the power of your arm, they will be as still as stone until your people pass by, O Lord. Until the people you brought pass by, until all those people you brought pass by. You will bring them in and plant them on the mountain of your inheritance. The place, O Lord, you made for your dwelling. The sanctuary, O Lord, your hands established. The sanctuary, O Lord, your hands established. Your hands, your nose, your breath, you're like a human. The Lord will reign forever and ever. And that, of course, is a homage to Handel. Well, that was quite the song that they sang to celebrate God getting them out of Egypt. I don't know if the melody is exactly the way they did it, but it is probably fairly close. I do hate when you rhyme a word with a word. I mean, that's not a rhyme. That's just using the same word. And I was going to say maybe in the original Hebrew it's a bit different, but chances are it's still the same word at the end of that sentence. But of course, they're singing everything backwards because I don't know if you know this, but Hebrew's backwards. When Pharaoh's horses, chariots, and horsemen went into the sea, the Lord brought the waters of the sea back over them. But the Israelites walked through the sea on dry ground. Then Miriam the prophetess, our first female prophetess, maybe even our last. I don't know how many female, but she's a prophetess. I feel like some of this prophet stuff, I don't know what makes a prophet. I don't think we've had that described to us yet, but I feel like some of it is just like familial, like nepotism is alive and well in the Bible. It's like Moses is special for no good reason other than that God arbitrarily picked him. But because Moses is kind of cool and special, Miriam gets a pass and it's like, you're a prophetess. Yeah, you're actually pretty substantially unique and special too. Aaron's sister, which we know that Moses' sister too, took a tambourine in her hand and all the women followed her with tambourines and dancing. Miriam sang to them, "Sing to the Lord for he is highly exalted. The horse and its rider he has held into the sea. I don't know why she has an accent, but he has held them into the sea. This is a very musical episode, but a very musical chapter indeed. I don't know if I'm going to sing all of Psalms, so don't count on that. Then Moses led Israel from the Red Sea, and they went into the desert of Shur. For 3 days they traveled in the desert without finding water. When they came to Marah, they could not drink its water because it was bitter. That is why the place is called Marah, of course. Of course, I love when they give us those little details that don't mean anything. But maybe they mean something to Hebrew scholars. I don't know. So the people grumbled against Moses, saying, "What are we to drink?" What? 600,000 people. What are we to... 2 million people, sorry. What are we to drink? Maybe it was just one guy. Hi, I am the spokesperson. I was elected to... We don't have this kind of system of government. But anyway, I'm one of the council. That is actually, they already have that. What are we to drink? Then Moses cried out to the Lord, and the Lord showed him a piece of wood. He threw it into the water, and the water became sweet. This is the first time we see water filtration systems, and it's actually filtered through a random piece of wood. And the neat thing is it doesn't have to really go through it. You just have to toss it into the water. It's magic, guys. It's magic. It doesn't have to comport with reality. This is a magic book. Relax, everyone. I don't want you guys going see, that's nuts. There's no way that would have happened. This Bible is BS. I don't want to hear that. It's a miracle. It's magic. This book is magical. So it makes sense within that world. Okay? The logic of the universe is consistent. Sorry, I misspoke. The magic in the universe does happen. The logic of the universe is simply not consistent, but we've already sort of spoken to that, There the Lord made a decree and a law for them, and there he tested them. He loves testing them. See, again, he is not all-knowing, because if he was, he wouldn't be doing tests, would he? Why would you test someone if you know what the outcome is going to be? Why would you do the... Oh, I forgot. The pageantry, the theater. God loves the pageantry and the theater. If I'm being too dramatic and too theatrical and speaking like this, then blame God because he's the biggest theater buff of them all. He said, if you listen carefully to the voice of the Lord your God and do what is right in his eyes, if you pay attention to his commands and keep all his decrees, I will not bring on you any of the diseases I brought on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals you. I am the Lord who heals you. This is what the Lord said. This is a test, apparently. Then they came to Elim, where there were 12 springs and 70 palm trees, and they camped there near the water. I love that there's just that detail of the amount of palm trees and the amount of springs for some reason. And I guess 70 palm trees, let's see. Is that enough shade for 2 million people? Let me just get the calculator out. So how many zeros? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 million divided by 7 equals, all right, so 285,714 people per palm tree. So maybe that's going to be enough people to just get that thin little line of shade if they stand in single file. I think a few people might be left out, but you know what? They can always do sort of like taking turns, right? They can just go, what? Now I get some shade. Now I get some shade. And 12 springs. Look, I'm not going to look up 2 million divided by 12, but I feel like that's a lot of people per spring, but cool, whatever. And it seems like they got to the spring pretty quickly after having a little bit of water, a little bit of bitter water that turns sweet. He should have just been walk for 5 more minutes and you'll get to the spring. Don't worry about it. Guys, don't worry about it. So I don't know what this test is. I guess this is going to be a long-term test, right? If you keep my commands and my decrees the way Abraham did, even though he pimped his wife and lied, then I won't send locusts, gnats. I won't unalive all your firstborns. I mean, you're kind of doing that for me anyway. And I won't send froggies, darkness, I won't turn all the water into blood unless that's going to come up in Revelations, but maybe that's because no one is keeping his decrees. P.S. That might just be what we deserve, I suppose. That's a long-term test, I'll tell you, and I don't know if these people have lived up to it or if we are going to see all those diseases falling upon them. I'm just going to go back over here 1 second to the terrifying language that we see in this joyful, triumphant song. And I just don't know why we don't see this in modern worship music. The nations will hear and tremble. Anguish will grip the people of Philistia. Terror and dread will fall upon them. The other ones. Moab will be seized with trembling. Like, this God is terrifying. And he's terrifying seemingly to everyone other than the Hebrews. All the other gods, which do literally exist, it seems, I don't know why else we would mention them, as if, who among the gods is like you? Well, if they were all false gods, it would just be like, there are no other gods, just you. That's what I think those lyrics would say. But I believe the Bible thinks, which is a weird thing to say, I know, but it seems like the Bible believes that there are more gods, that there are more literal gods in existence. Maybe you don't believe that, but the Bible certainly seems to have that opinion. I also want to mention that back in verse 15, and I'm sorry I didn't stop as we were going, but I was just in the zone. But in verse 15, we see the leaders of Moab will be seized with trembling. This is, I think, and anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first time we've heard of Moab since we found out where they come from. They're descendants of the sexual assault that Lot's daughters performed on him. So I kind of assumed in that moment, and I don't know if I mentioned it at the time, that Moab was going to be one of the nations we don't like. The nations we don't like are going to be products of weird things like seeing dad naked or, raping your dad or whatever. You can casually say it that way because it's Bible. There's just going to be so many things that it's just like, just more familial, incestual rape, whatever. The sins of your foremothers, they're going to be visited upon you, and now in the form of this God using his people to destroy you. So you should not have been the child of the sperm that made it. That's your fault. You are a descendant of a rape victim and a rapist, and for that you shall be punished. I'm sorry. That's just God's justice, and justice will be done the way God sees fit. Which to you and I, we might find this bonkers. We might go, well, that doesn't sound right, but it is right because God's doing it. So don't question it at all. Anyway, that's chapter 15. What a beautiful, beautiful song I wrote. What a fun song, musical and poetic and a little lazy on the rhymes and a little clunky on the lyrics, but it was still fun. So guys, listen, subscribe. I always say this. Like the video, comment on the video. Don't be shy. Be part of the conversation. I don't know if I got something wrong in this one, but let me know. And we'll see you next time for Exodus chapter 16. Au revoir.